The doctor is in.
Hey guys, it's your pal, Dr. Sal. Thanks for joining in again. Today we're going to take a look at fibromyalgia tender points. Now, while it's no longer a part of the official criteria for diagnosing fibromyalgia, back in the 90s, they codified 18 tender points that were common in fibromyalgia. And to make the diagnosis at that time, you needed 11 out of 18. The diagnosis today is a little more confusing, and I still find this oldie goldie technique of searching for tender points to be a useful diagnostic tool when I'm leaning or want to know if someone's diagnosis is leaning towards fibromyalgia. So here's how it's done. First off, if you're doing this as a self-test for screening, the first thing you have to understand is that when you're feeling for these tender points, if you press hard enough on anybody, then everybody has fibromyalgia. So the first and most crucial part of the test is figuring out how much pressure to apply with your finger. And the simplest way of understanding is just enough to blanch your fingernail when you press. So if you look here, you see how my fingernail just blanched there? Like that. That's all the pressure you're looking for. From pink to white, that's all the pressure you need. Again, if you press too hard, everybody will come through your diagnostic screen as having fibromyalgia. So the key is getting that just right degree of pressure. So let's look at the 18 roughly tender points that used to be the diagnostic criteria. Now it's a little more nebulous, so I still find this useful. So first up, it is far more common in females. I would say 9 out of 10 times when I see fibromyalgia, it's usually female. Now, with these little models here, I'll show you the tender points as we go. So at the front, anteriorly, right here, and right there. So up in this, whoops, that's a little far back. More like here, right above the clavicles, those muscles there. That's the first area. Then there's also the upper pectorals called the pectoralis minor. So up here. Then there's also the elbows, or what we call the epicondyles. So the elbows. And usually for that, how I diagnose that is I grab the person's elbow with a pallet grip, and then I squeeze like that. That's how I diagnose it. So that's elbows, and then I do that as well for the knees. And it's not the front of the knee, it's the sides of the knees. So again, I do that same grappling method. And that's it for the front tender points. So I'll just show you that up close. So there's our little model there. See the elbows, the knees, the sides, and also for the elbows, it's also the sides, and then the pectoral minor and the anterior trapezius. Now, there's also a whole bunch of points at the rear. So I'm going to turn this guy in reverse and show you those tender points over here. So the tender points in this case are right up at the base of the skull, those cervical erector muscles, and then the big trapezius muscles up here on top of the shoulders, and then also the rhomboids in between these winged bones here, the scapulae. So this would be called the shoulder girdle, that back area there, and then under the neck there. The next point is the upper outer buttocks, so here, and also the hips. So for the original diagnosis, you needed 11 out of those 18 features to make a diagnosis for fibromyalgia. That's no longer the case. They now use a widespread pain inventory. But I still like this test because it was very definitive, well codified, easy to execute, and it still helps me today in determining if I'm going to stratify them. Like, is it likely that this person has fibromyalgia, or should I look at something else, like some kind of autoimmune disorder or something of that nature? So again, ladies and gentlemen, the key is A, knowing the spots to look for your test, and B, remembering how much pressure to apply to make the diagnosis. So there you have it. That is fibromyalgia tender points which you can convert on yourself to be a self-test for fibromyalgia. In addition, remember with the fibromyalgia, there's also other features like the fibro brain fog, or fibro fog, really lousy sleep or unrefreshing sleep. So no matter how much sleep you get, you still wake up just as tired. A lot of headaches, etc., etc. There's another video that I did in much more detail about fibromyalgia that you can look through in the library, which also looks at oral treatments and novel new treatments evolving for fibromyalgia treatment. So you could check that out too. So thanks so much for watching. Have a terrific rest of your week. We'll chat again soon.
Thanks for watching. Get notified of new videos. Subscribe now.
If you found this video helpful, support us by sharing it with all of your friends and throw us a like below. You're a star. Cheers and cheerio.